to another episode of Exploring Careers in Tech. And today I'm joined by Bernard Chadenga. He's a virtual CISO and he's just going to tell us a little bit more about his career and his career path. Welcome, Bernard.
Thank you for having me. You know, it's actually quite interesting. I really like talking about my career, but I like talking about cybersecurity and how to get there.
Yeah.
So it's been quite an interesting journey to get to where I am right now.
Yeah, definitely. We would really want to get to know that more about that. As far as I know, you brought some of your mentees to the Security Summit, which means that you're actually guiding people towards the right direction. Can you just tell us how you started into cybersecurity?
So, you know, it's actually a funny story. I didn't go directly into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity was not actually where I was planning on going. I originally wanted to be an accountant and auditor.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know, the fate maybe, I started doing a degree in accounting in IT, and the IT modules were just too simple. It just didn't make sense. And I kept thinking to myself, maybe I should switch into IT. So eventually when I graduated, I went to become an IT intern at a brewery.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So I worked for a brewery. Oh yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I had so much fun, not because I was a heavy drinker or anything like that, but because of the fact that it was fascinating to watch this operating model, how important everything was, how things fit together, how they bottled every single bottle. And as I was working that job, I went from internship into sort of a role in one of the more important sales systems. Now, a lot of the old cronies watching this will remember something called COBOL. It was a language that we used to use way back in the day. Very, very stable, very, very old now. And this system was one of the main systems we were using. So I started taking up tasks where I would look at the security operations, the audit, the investigative aspects of this. We used to look into a lot of, you know, missing cases, missing trucks, missing product. It brought up a little bit of an investigative nature in me. And I thought to myself, what is this? Why is this so interesting? So I then discovered that there's something called information security during that process, and I started studying it by myself. Eventually the business decided to set up an information security division, and that sort of supported this dream of, wait a minute, I could actually go into this field from where I am. Wait a minute, I'm actually doing this every single day. And as I progressed step by step, I started learning more about cybersecurity. I started interacting with more people in different areas of IT who were all touching upon different sections of security, because every single branch of IT, information technology, has some foundational aspects in information security. You know, in order for the processes to work, in order for the technology to work in a certain way, there are inbuilt, ingrown frameworks of security. Logical, you know, everybody knows that when you leave your house, you lock the door.
Okay.
Why do you lock the door? You lock the door because you don't want someone to go in and to take your stuff. Right? So that is the basis of the logic that is security. Now, if you think about that in terms of technology, it means you don't want anyone to have unauthorized access into your environment. You don't want anybody to be able to do things that they shouldn't be able to do unless they're given the key. And logical and straightforward thinking around this cybersecurity helped me to actually groom myself and grow and become a better cybersecurity professional. Now, as I progressed in my career, I moved, you know, to different countries. I started working for a number of different consulting firms. And in these consulting firms, they come up with very, very set frameworks on how they get the job done. Now, for me, coming from a sort of environment where everything was a little bit still very, very immature, to now encountering different clients who were doing amazing things in cybersecurity, only made me want to pursue it even more. You know, and I always like thinking about it, and I think back and I say, this is where we are over 20 years later. I've walked down this journey, And it's been a lot of tough times and a lot of brilliant times where I've learned from others, where I've been exposed to so many things. So I thought to myself, I want to share this with other people. Every single step of my journey in cybersecurity, someone held a hand up. Someone helped me with this. Someone taught me that they didn't expect anything in return. They took up their precious time so that they could teach me the basic fundamentals or the advanced elements of a specific area in information security, information technology, and what became cybersecurity. So I thought to myself, listen, you are doing pretty well now. I'm mid-range. In other words, I've been in cybersecurity more than 3, 4, 5 years. And I said, whatever I've learned right now, it's time for me to start sharing it. And I've been pretty blessed with my mentees because very, very brilliant people. I have 12 now.
Oh.
And of the 12, 3 are over a senior level where they're likened to CISOs. They are CISOs. And I believe that I no longer mentor them. It's more of a friendly conversation where we're growing and we're helping each other and I'm learning more. And I have younger mentees, some straight out of high school, who haven't even gone to university.
I remember I met one of them last week in Cape Town.
Yes.
Like one was like 20 years old.
Yes.
And today you just introduced me to one of them that actually won an award for excellent student or something like that at our awards at Women in Tech. So that's really interesting. So what do you think? What is your drive? Why do you feel the purpose you need to have these people under you? You did say that you got some help, so you feel like you need to help. But what actually motivates you to give a helping hand to the younger generation?
So, you know, it's actually quite interesting. Not all of them are younger.
Wow.
Some of them maybe slightly because, you know, you can't see my gray hairs. But these are all people in different stages of their lives, in different stages of their professional career, who reached out to me and said, listen, I need your help, can you help me? Originally, when I started this, I never thought about it as something that I would even ever talk about. You know, I started this because somebody asked me a question and I had an answer. And then she asked me another question and I had an answer. And then over time, we started building a foundation where I could teach, I could impart what I know, I could help in elements where I could see gaps. And you know, what my presentation here at the ITWeb Security Summit is around soft skills. It's around why I call a soft skill a life skill. And some of these skills we're not learned, we're not taught. They're either not culturally something that we know, or maybe they're not something from our background, or maybe they're not something that we interact with or we see on a day-to-day. And I found that out the hard way. And I've always thought to myself that, look, if I have an opportunity to tell you, listen, this is how you accelerate your career. Listen, this is how you take a shortcut as opposed to the extra decade it took me to understand this. I always feel that that's a great advantage for someone. And I'll be honest with you, I've always been approached by these brilliant people. They've come up to me, they've asked me questions, they've been interactive, and I've realized that that in itself, being able to teach, is also allowing them to know how to train and teach when they get to the stage where they feel that, oh, I also want to impart this knowledge. And that's how we keep this chain. That's how we raise the skills. That's how we raise the cyber professionals. And that's how we actually help to start building cybersecurity skills in Southern Africa and in Africa.
Oh, nice. So I think my next question would be, like, what advice as a mentor yourself, right, would you give to someone that's still starting up, that has no idea of like the world of cybersecurity, and that's just like trying to like get their life into practice? What advice would you give to them in a short summary? Okay,
so first things first, I'll talk about it from an internal and external perspective. So how you interact with other people and how you interact with yourself. How you interact with yourself is to never give up. Be ambitious, be motivated, be hungry. Cybersecurity is not easy. And it's not something that you can learn if you're not if you're not dedicated to making this a part of your life, you know, it's a career choice, but it's also a life choice. Now, externally, I always give maybe like a 3 or 4 step plan. Now, firstly, find a mentor or coach. Find somebody who can give you a little bit of guidance. Sometimes people give you guidance. You don't need to have a special badge to be a coach or a mentor. You just need to be able to have the interest and be able to sacrifice the time. And it's the same for a person who wants to be mentored, who wants to be coached. They need to be able to give up that time. They need to be ambitious enough and motivated enough to know that this is where I want to go. The second thing I always say is join a tribe. I call it join a tribe, I call it join a village. It just means join a community of like-minded people, professionals who are trying to aim for where you're trying to aim. For example, you've come to a conference like this. You've interacted with many different cybersecurity and IT and technology professionals. Connect with them, speak to them, ask them, how are you doing this? Go back to their coach and say, I want to do it like this, but I'm unsure if this is the path I should take. That's how you accelerate. When you start to accelerate, it's easier for you to pick the right choices and the right routes, because if I want to be honest, there's over 50 different paths of just cybersecurity. Many different things that you could do under that umbrella. So getting help from the people around you, getting some sort of guidance, and also having the grit and the determination to continue pushing is part and parcel of what I think would be a great couple of steps.
Okay, I see. So I think just to conclude, maybe how do you end up knowing, like, let's say cybersecurity or any careers per se is your purpose? How do you discover purpose?
So I like that question. I like that question a lot. You know why? Because cyber is really difficult.
Yeah, because people tend to start something, then they just feel like maybe for the money, for example, it's flashy. They see people at the top like you, you're a CEO, you're a CIO, and they just want the badges and titles. But like eventually you get into it and you actually see that, you know, it's hard, then you end up dropping out. I have a lot of classmates of mine that dropped out, you know, in the first, second years.
It happens. Look, it's honest. Honestly, it's really hard, right? But it's not impossible. I would say it's really hard, but it's actually really, really rewarding. The reason why I said ambition and motivation, you know, and the grit, actually has to do with how determined you are to finish this cycle. Cybersecurity is fun because it's a real life thing. Like, for example, you're learning offensive security. You're actively learning how to hack an environment, a person, a business, a car, a plane. I mean, don't do that at home. But this is something that's really, really fun. It's really entertaining. You get to have bragging rights. You get to show your friends your skills. You get to see your skills yourself. That's a lot of fun. You know, and when you think about it like that, I think about my history, my journey that I just talked about, and I say, I've been in cybersecurity over 21 years, and I still love it every single day. It's hard. Sometimes I walk away going, oh, such a hard day. But I still love it. And if you find something that you really, really love, if you find something that's fun for you, you won't work a day in your life.
Yes. Thank you very much. And that was Bernard Chadenga, virtual CISO and a CEO. Thank you very much.